Hey everybody, Weston here with the Hidden Gibbon, back with another video, a very special video today and big channel update. I am here with my friend Mitch, who is going to be joining the channel for some CEDH content. Mitch, why don't you tell us who you are?
Hello, my name is Mitch. Thank you so much, Weston, for having me on, be a part of this channel. And I've been playing Magic since Onslaught Block back in whenever that came out. That's what got me hooked into the game, and been playing competitively, grinding tournaments and stuff since the early 2010s. And took a little break, got back up into COVID, found CEDH organically. I was just looking to power up some decks to play against each other, and they turned into doing a bunch of infinite combos and crazy stuff, and that kind of scratched that legacy itch.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, I went from there. I've been a combo player through all of my career, pretty much. My main deck was the Epic Storm for a long time. Through many iterations. Probably I played that one around 9 to 10 years. And other than that, yeah, now I play Blue Farm in CEDH just because I'm gravitated towards that efficiency, that just overall good card quality. But yeah, we'll get into that a little bit later. But that's a little bit about me.
Yeah, we've known each other since, we met in high school. Mitch and I used to travel with some of our friends, like our friend Dewey, all across the country for the old GPs and 5Ks for Legacy back in the day. He was slamming out the old Epic Storm. I was throwing up 12 post in Zoo back in the day. It was a lot of good times, and I, like we kind of discussed prior to recording the video, I think that Commander was a good segue for people who needed a home after Vintage became too expensive or Legacy kind of, withered out. So a little bit more stuff about you is, so a lot of folks always have their favorite pet cards, right? Whether it be the card that they're nostalgic for, casual card that you have to jam in every deck, or like your favorite competitive card. I know for me, if Emrakul was legal, that would be in every deck regardless of whatever it is. But sadly, they won't free my spaghetti monster. So what are those cards for you?
So yeah, that's a great question. And competitively, some of my favorite cards, I guess I've always been an ad nauseum player. Shards of Alaro. That when that set was first announced, I saw that card and I was like, okay, this changes everything.
This is it. Yeah.
Before in the Epic Storm, particularly, they were running diminishing returns and ill-gotten gains as the engines to build Storm, and this completely changed the deck and made it so much easier to function and to go off sooner. Necropotence, Underworld Breach, Tendrils of Agony, those are some of my great, the most busted cards that I love. And then on the casual side, Astral Slide is one of my favorite cards, recycling and then blinking stuff. And Mistbind Click is one of my favorite creatures. It's a 4/4 from Lorwyn who had Championing the Fairy, and it taps all your opponent's lands. So you could get into a situation where you're championing 3 different Mistbind Clicks and you're tapping your opponent's lands every turn. And that was pretty fun.
So in essence, what I'm hearing and what I've known for many years is you like doing the really busted thing and like doing lots of math. Oh man, I still remember playing Legacy in that one tournament down by Iowa City where I managed to, with 12 posts, get to like 38, and you still managed through, I think it was double Chalice of the Void, get me down. Mitch was a great Epic Storm pilot, that is for sure. And then, we got into Commander. As most people did in Magic the Gathering, now Magic's biggest format out there. It's good for casual, it's good for competitive. So I know that, I know you have an old Commander who holds a place in your heart, but kind of walk me through, the Commander you play, the competitive Commander, and, that one card, that long-lost card that you love so much.
Yeah, so Crush the Blood Braided. He's my man, you know. Just I first picked him up back in the day when we picked up Commander back before brackets
Yep.
and power levels, and you just try to jam a bunch of cards into the deck that work together, and maybe it was good, maybe it wasn't, and then turned into, well, who can do the most broken things?
Yeah, I think we all had Alara commanders back then, right? You had Crash. One of our friends had Thraxamundar. I had Sharoon. Yep.
And Janara.
Yep.
So yeah, all around that time, you know, there was, I guess, yeah, even some Lorwyn cards like Doran the Siege Tower was one of the commanders that we had. Reaper King, and yeah, and a bunch of great stuff like that. But that's what I play in casual, and that's pretty much my only deck in casual. I do have some other some tribal stuff, and then like some precons, but the one that I really care about is Crash. And the competitive stuff, my CEDH deck is Blue Farm, so it's Timna and Crom together as a pair, and you know that's everybody gives the deck a bad rap, and you know in the CEDH community, everyone says, "Oh, it's just Blue Farm. Blue Farm's so boring. Oh, this is just the worst deck." Because there's nothing that it's just like tutors, and you just go find your Thassa's Oracle, and that's all you do, and it's all you do to win. Well, these are cards in the deck, but the way it plays out is so much differently. Like you had a video recently on the bannings of Ristic and
the proposed bannings. Yep.
Yeah, and like, you know, kind of my take on that, there's a little sidestep here, is that, you know, like Thassa's Oracle is just the period to a really long sentence.
Oh, yeah.
And if you don't want that sentence to end, you would ban Thassa's Oracle, and then you'd have a sentence that runs on forever.
Yeah.
But if you think Thassa's Oracle is fine, then yes, you agree that you would want to have a period to that sentence, and that's all that card is.
It ends the game. You don't want Nadu type games where it just goes on for 50 minutes and
you know, like, you know, a little bit of what we'll get into a little later, but like some of the bad misconceptions of always ending in a draw and well, it's no fun and stuff like that. Well, those all could kind of be solved because we have things like Thassa's Oracle in the format that allow us to end those games, or, you know, give you at least an option then.
Yeah. And I kind of alluded to a little bit before, if there was one commander I know you played back in the day that got banned out, who was that? If this
Fellows.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so if it came down to, and you know, I thought about that, maybe that's a fun idea for a video moving forward, is to play like what if.
Yep.
You know,
take back some of those banned cards.
Yeah, like throwback big time.
I've thought about doing one where we kind of like build decks based on like what we had available in the era, so like nothing like newer than like Alara, and we're using like our old like play styles with like back in the day. For those of you who are new to Commander, there's a card called Tunnel Vision, and that used to be one of the biggest win cons in Commander, because we didn't have the rule where you could move your commander to the command zone, and so you would like condemn or something to put opponent's commander on the bottom of their library, and then you tunnel vision them to win the game, and it was an interesting time.
Yeah, a lot of the time people were like, you think tutors now are going to get a good card. Well, a tutor was run back in the day so that you could get your commander if it got tucked into your deck.
Yeah.
You had a way to find your commander back, because otherwise you're just kind of...
Oh yeah, somebody put your commander like third from the top, and then like Ghost Quarter you, so you had to shuffle your library, and you're just like, no.
Yeah, had you search for something along with them, and now you're shuffling your library and you're shuffling your commander in.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
it was a different time back then, but yes, Rofellos is definitely one that if I were to get back today, it would be, oh man. So yeah, like taking an old commander and staying in
Yep.
that era would be cool, but then also taking that old commander and then powering up to what the current level is,
Yep.
like current CEDH, what would Rofellos look like,
Ooh.
is also a really cool thought experiment to
It
me.
yeah, that would be really interesting to just see it. Like, I kind of saw a similar video. I can't remember who did it. I think it might have been the MTG Goldfish guys, where they took modern decks and like from their peak era and pitted them against each other. Like I know they took 12 posts because for those of you who don't know, 12 posts got to exist in modern for about 5 seconds before they banned it, which was sad because that's initially what I was going to build 12 post for, was that. And they took that and then like the Eldrazi winter decks and tried to put them up against like Hogak and then some of the other stuff and like Nadu, and like even the power level of those can't, like, you see the shifting dynamics. So it'd be interesting to see if Ruffalo's can like hang with the modern era of
Right. I
of
mean,
like
and you know,
Commander.
exactly, because like it's really interesting because I can see the argument on both sides, right? Like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, he's too powerful with any sort of thing that untaps him. Like the Umbral Mantle
Yep.
combo is a very easy one, you know, like it's so easy to find that now.
Yeah.
But also, he's got one toughness, and Orcish Bowmasters is now a
Orcish
card.
Bowmasters is a thing, a
So
very busted
like,
thing in multiple formats.
what does that? How does that impact it? Is he kept in check by
Yep.
Orcish Bowmasters since he's a very, you know, like not necessarily a dork strategy, but kind of leans also into the
Yeah.
dorks to help you get that boost of mana going.
Mm-hmm.
Well, is that good enough? You know,
Yeah.
would Orcish Bowmasters hitting you once just be game over? You know, or is there enough ramp now with, you know, maybe the new Avatar lessons coming out and all these sagas that have search for
Yeah.
and find forests, search for lands, put them in your hand, put them on the battlefield. Like, there's possibility there. I think. I don't know.
And the Avatar question is a little interesting. This is going to be a segue from what we kind of talked about prior. But what do you think of some of the mechanics? Do you think any of them have potential in CDH? Now, I'm like not a CDH like insider myself, but like I could see firebending having some kind of combo potential in the
Potentially, there's a little bit of things that you can do inside combat that would help you boost that mana. Would be good. But they're kind of loose in terms of mana costs. Like you could be playing things that allow you, you know, your mana to be spent any color.
Yeah.
That helps, like Najila,
Yep.
help you get an extra attacks with her. Other than that, with like, oh, there's really not many abilities that you want to sink into in combat. You'd rather have
Because
that
combat's
mana
not
in.
really going to be a big thing.
It's the main thing with CEDH and combat is kind of treating it as like your engine as well. Like, say you have like a Ragavan, say you have, you know, Timna, something that requires you to attack and doesn't necessarily need to do a lot of damage. You just need to get that attack trigger so that you can either draw the cards, make the treasure, or whatever it is. Yeah, using combat as an advantage engine is more so what you're looking for. You're not really trying to do something big and splashy. You know, I'm not saying that something big and splashy in combat would work, because that's entirely possible. I think Earthbending has got a little bit of potential with all these Lumra things that are going on,
Oh,
and
yeah.
all these land sacrifices. If there's some aggressively costed Earthbending card, that could be really good. And yeah, I think that, yeah, Avatar is going to bring a lot of cool stuff. Waterbending seems like a really cool idea too, like Rog Thras, the Rograk and Thrasios pairing. They really want to see stuff that has, like, you know, like if they can tap a bunch of their creatures and then that waterbending flicker spell that brings them all back in, their ETBs happen again and they're untapped. Like, come on.
Waterbending is like this strange like hybrid of convoke and improvise, and I think it has a lot of potential. We'll just have to wait and see. I know in casual EDH that I think waterbending. I think pretty much all of the mechanics will see a lot of play in the casual side. Airbending, you've got your blink. Waterbending, you're going to be able to cheat things out, especially if you're playing a lot of cheap artifacts and stuff. But it's gonna be interesting. So
yeah, I'm excited to try earthbending and Crash.
Man, I'm gonna have to build that 4-drop Toph from the Jumpstart set, which, man, it's already pre-sold out on like Card Kingdom, and I was really hoping to. Oh yeah, that and the Kyoshi are, and I'm hoping I managed to pre-order a Jumpstart box, and I'm like, please, Magic Gods, I know I burnt all of my luck in Future Sight, but please help me now. It'll be interesting. But back to CEDH, you kind of alluded to it before as to why you got into it, but do you want to kind of expand on like what was your like, if you can recall, what was like your first time seeing CEDH, and did it hook you right away, or did it kind of buy you in over time?
So I went on a weird atypical journey when it comes to finding CEDH. I was at the time, it was during COVID, and me and my roommate, the Magic Kraken, shout out the Magic Kraken, and we were just playing these two decks that I had an Urza, mono blue Urza combo deck that
I remember that.
Before that, it was actually a Talrand deck, mm-hmm. where it was all, I mean, there's one creature in the entire list, and that creature was Laboratory. And so everything else was like instants and sorceries and draw cards. So it had things like Time Spiral and Memory Jar and all the draw 7s that you could think of in it. And it was basically draw 7 tribal. Mm-hmm. And we were playing that against this green-black deck that was a Pauper CEDH deck that we decided to use his collection and my collection at the time to just power up to see if it could compete. Mm-hmm. And so that eventually turned into Mirren, Clan of Neltoth. And then I started looking as like, man, there's got to be some cool things I can do with like Protean Hulk or stuff like that in green and black that have some infinite combos or something, because obviously my infinite combo gears were turning.
Oh yeah.
And I love cards like Protean Hulk where you can just get 6 power worth of creatures into play for free if he dies, which is just awesome.
Harkening back to Flash Hulk.
Exactly. It's like Flash Hulk, but without the Flash part. So, it's a little bit slower, so it's a little bit more fair. But I can grind value in the meantime with Mirren and just kind of use cheap creatures to build up. Mm-hmm. Eventually, win with Malira, Sylviac Outcast, Lesser Manticore, and Disciple of the Vault, where, she doesn't put counters on anything. You can infinitely sack the and Viscera Seer, I guess you need a sack outlet. So you can sacrifice the Lesser Manticore to the Viscera Seer, and then the Disciple of the Vault drains everybody.
Yep. And
this is all converted mana cost fetchable off of Protean Hulk. So I started looking at that, and then all the different forums and different areas, the Reddits and things like that, and eventually found like these CEDH lists for Urza, and they were very much centered around Polymorph and Proteus Staff was the other one, where they would just play it cheap, use a construct, right? Because you just have them pour Urza himself and just polymorph Urza into Hullbreaker Horror. And then, you just have, cheap artifacts in place, so you just start your Hullbreaker loop from there.
Yeah.
And then you generate infinite mana, and then you just Urza your deck.
And I remember when you first got back here to Iowa, you played it. It was pretty neat watching it go off.
Yeah, there was some situations. I think the one I remember the most was I was at, I think, For Life dead on board, and I had to win in my upkeep or something like that. I didn't
Hmm.
get there, but like I was able to spin Urza like three different times in order to try or something.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So that's how I found CEDH is just kind of naturally, where most people have like friends that like will get them into it or
Hmm.
something. Where I was just like, oh man, there's got to be something more broken. There's got to be something more broken, and eventually I saw Urza was on the CEDH deck database, which a long time ago, that used to be the place to go. And I say long time ago, like it's an actually long time. I say that's like 3 to 4 years, maybe
Time
not even
flies.
2 years, right? Whatever. Internet makes time not real.
That's true.
So
I feel
um,
that.
after that, I found like Atraxa, the Grand Unifier. She had just gotten printed, and
Hmm.
I was like, wow, this seems great. And we still had Mana Crypt
Yep.
and Jeweled Lotus in the format. So I was like, I can be hitting like turn 3 Atraxas on people, and that seems pretty cool. And then that just pushes me into a food chain, and then I can just infinitely cast Atraxa and draw my deck. That also seems pretty cool. So I built that, played that a few times, and then after the bannings happened, the the Great Depression of Magic, which I get. No, I'm not going to say the Great Depression. It was 100% shook up the format, and it was needed from the other aspects of that happened around it. I get it 100%. So after that made a shakeup, Dockside, Jeweled Lotus, and Mana Crypt get banned, and now Atraxa I'm casting on like turn 5,
Which is too
which
slow for your CDH most of the time.
is which you know, sound like hearing it, you're like, oh, from turn 3 to turn 5, like, well, that's not so bad. Like, yeah, that's pretty bad. Like, there's some decks out there in the meta that are trying to win on turn 2,
Hmm.
and they're doing it rather consistently, if not pushing that turn 1 win percentage
Hey,
15 to 20% of the time.
at least it's not like Yu-Gi-Oh, where if you're not winning on your opponent's first turn when they're on the play, you're doing something wrong.
I mean, that's definitely true. You have at least have a little bit of say in what's going on.
Yep.
Um, but yeah, so after that banning, I had most of the cards, I had the duels, I had everything that I needed to do it. So I just started converting Atrax.
Sorry, folks, there was a small cut there. Had my tiny human walk on frame. So you were just explaining that you were converting Atraxa.
Yeah, so I was converting Atraxa over to Blue Farm, and because I just wanted to go faster. Um, the efficiency, the raw power, just the card quality, everything about that deck just initially just drew me to it. And I haven't looked back. That was 2.5 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And eventually on the video or on the channel, I will do a deck showcase where I show my current build. It's not quite done yet. I've got a little bit of work to do, but it's about 95 to 96% done. And so I'm pretty confident and I'm very comfortable to get ready to show it off. Because I'm going to start doing gameplay and stuff, so you'll see it anyway.
Oh, yeah.
But
For those of you watching, his deck is beautiful. So is his Crash deck. Mitch likes his bling.
I like foils, and some of them happen to be in languages that I don't understand.
Whereas I am the opposite on the foils. I'm the anti-foil guy. I don't like Pringles.
See, this is why we get along so
Yeah.
well, is because if you have foils that, if I have foils that you have that I want, I get them.
Yep,
And
we
if
just
I have
flip flop them.
non-foils,
Yep.
you get them from me, and it's all perfect. It works out great.
It also saves me sometimes with secret layers because the non-foil ones don't sell out as fast, so I usually pick up those.
That's definitely true.
So, with CEDH is where it is right now. I know you said you play Blue Farm, and there's some other decks out. Hey, folks, you'll know that there was a quick jump cut yesterday. My daughter kept running about, and so we are going to be continuing this here. And I left off with asking Mitch here, what's the meta like for the CEDH format right now?
Yeah, so the meta right now is pretty quick, but it's really healthy. There's a lot of different decks that are being represented. The best deck, the biggest boogeyman right now is Blue Farm, the one that I'm playing. But there's a few different variants within the deck itself, and that deck only shares like 12% of the metagame share. Which, if you look at different formats across Magic,
it's a lot healthier than what Standard was sitting before today's bans.
Not great. It's just kind of funny how we're talking about, this is pre-ban and post release of the ban list. So now we'll see how VV shakes coming out of Standard shakes up that format.
Oh yeah.
But I think that overall, like if you want to play a monocolor deck, you can do that. You've got options. If you want to play a 2-color deck, you've got options. 3-color, 4-color, and 5-color, you've got options. And there's always things being innovated in the space, and there's always room for more. There's combos that haven't even been explored yet that could be viable. We just don't have enough people testing and doing it. Like there's been pros like Sam Black, who jumped over from competitive 60-card formats and limited formats. He jumped into CEDH, and he's like, oh, well, this card, Oboro Breeze Caller, goes infinite with Gaia's Cradle if you have like 5 or 6 creatures on board. Why is no one playing this? And then he just kind of propelled that whole deck into a whole new direction. And it's one of like probably second or third most popular deck in the format right now.
And we've seen similar things in other formats. Like you and I remember like Flash, Hulk, and Legacy, which we mentioned earlier in this video, right? Like Flash and Hulk were both perfectly legal in Legacy. It's just nobody discovered it until they did. And that's kind of how it goes for everything, right? Like you'll have those sort of decks in any format just appear out of nowhere a lot faster, I would say, nowadays because of the advent of the internet. So like you don't have to log on to some obscure like message board or forum to find things, but it's an ever-evolving format, would you say?
Oh, 100%, and it's only going to keep evolving. I think right now the format's very healthy. In the Magic sphere right now, we're talking a lot about the Rhystic ban and the Thoracle ban and like what that could do. And we look at the Fishbowl that just happened here, which was the biggest tournament on the West Coast, and a Mardu deck won the whole thing.
Interesting.
So it doesn't even play Rhystic Study. It can't even play Rhystic Study, and it still took the whole thing down on turn 2 of the finals.
And would you say, even from what you've talked here, from when you started to now, has only been a few years, and, Urza was the big thing, then Atraxa was the big thing, right? Like, it's still such a young format that, like, the next big thing is still to come along, and I would think kind of like what we saw with Legacy, right? When we started playing Legacy, it was super small, super niche format, and then it exploded, and we went from seeing things where like Dragonstorm and stuff like that were the big things to things like Dream Halls. We had the Epic Storm, 12 Post Elves, Miracles, all of that sort of stuff, and the more popular
Death and Taxes, America, Merfolk. You had
Delver,
deck, the Goblins. You had Delver. You had variants of Delver. You had Bug Delver. You had Rug Delver. You had
and so I think as the format gains popularity and like becomes larger, I think it does have a lot of potential to become a lot like Legacy during its golden era, where you see that amount of deck diversity, right? I had we've seen complaints about deck diversity, but like you said, that it's changing, and we have the evidence for that.
Right, and
go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, you're good.
No, I was just gonna add to that point is it's always changing and everything in the format. Like when it comes down to the last 10 cards in my blue farm list, I'm always changing around because the meta's always shifting. It's always changing. It's like the way I look at it is that my deck is actually a 150 card deck. I just need to find the best 98 for that particular day.
Yep.
So like that.
But as we were saying, more jump cuts. My child is the most adorable little interrupter, friends. But yeah, I mean, like, CEDH seems really interesting. I'm glad to, bring you on board. I'm really kind of excited because I'll probably watch all the videos myself to see what's going on with it. But a lot of people, as you know, have seen, not always the most favorable things about CEDH. So as somebody who plays CEDH, what are some of the things that you'd like to dispel about, like, the common misconceptions?
Let's bring up the first one, the most notorious one, the 11-hour game.
Oh, yeah.
So, a lot of the rounds have gone to a time cap, even in the top 4 pod, because of that. Mm-hmm. So there have been structure changes to the tournament scene.
Yeah.
So things like that don't happen again. Now, when you get into that top 4 pod, when you get up with that caliber of player, there's a whole nother level to this game, which is another part of the big draw for me to CEDH, but we'll get into that a little bit later. It's a lot of high-level players are playing to win, right? So they're gonna use they're gonna play to every single out that they have, whether that be on board, whether that be taking actual game actions in the game, or using their words as game actions to influence decisions and stack targets and stuff like that. It's a whole different level. So that also kind of ties into the other misconception of, well, it's all just draws. I hate drawing. Not all these situations can be like settled within the context that the game has gotten into. So like everybody's got heuristic studies, everybody's got copies of Smothering Tithe, whether you have you've copy enchantmented or you copied it some other way, stolen one, however it may happen. Everyone gets into these battles where anytime anybody starts drawing cards or doing anything, everybody's gaining more resources and just gaining more fuel. It's just like it's an arms race.
Yeah, right? It's like nuclear proliferation.
Exactly. And you're just accelerating it, and you'll eventually get to a point where all the guns are out and no one has any guns left, right? And so they're all just kind of sitting there, and you're like, okay, well, I guess it's a draw because my guns are all pointed at him, your guns are all pointed at me, and his guns are all pointed at the other guy, and this other guy's got guns pointed at all of us, but he can't pull his triggers until this guy's guns are fully clear out. Yeah. Like it gets so intertwined and so webbed up that you can't find a winner. So it has to result in a draw. But they are working on it.
Yeah.
When it comes to like those top 4 pods and stuff like that, they try to eliminate as much of that as possible. Players have like the meta has shifted in that sense, is to not play for a draw anymore. Your deck still has to have the capability to do it, but you're more so pushing for wins more often, and you're trying to just win.
And yeah, I mean, to CEDH's credit, right? Like, no format has like perfect functioning when it starts out, right? There's a lot of clunkiness and things like that. And sorry, spam call, love them. And as the format becomes more popular and sees more support, right? Because it's mostly like independent organizations, independent organizers themselves putting on the tournaments, and they don't have the same resources as like the like RCQs and like Magic Fest, etc. But like as it gains in popularity, I think we could agree that it would see the resources that it needs to have that sort of like structure and implementation.
100%, but it can't see here's the weird bubble that CEDH is in right now, and it kind of ties into what I wanted to say overall about it, and how like somebody who is looking at the format versus somebody who plays the format.
Mm-hmm.
In order to be accessible, you have to make it accessible, right? So you have to allow proxies. But the closer we get to official support,
the less
the
likely
further away from that we can be at.
Yeah, and that's part of, like, I would argue that is a big part of the reason that Legacy kind of, it's not extinct, but it's functionally extinct in paper, right? Like, you have your Eternal Weekends, right, but I can't drive to Iowa City anymore for a Legacy tournament or Cedar Falls. And a lot of that, I think, is because, you know, the format was just too expensive. So
right,
maybe we can be like CDH could be like an almost like parallel adjacent supported format where, you know, it has like a lot of support for it from the growing base, and maybe something like Star City Games or you know, like those sort of bigger orgs could put something on.
They have started running smaller events, but they are running, you know, sanctions, so they're proxyless, right? Yeah. So they're running on the same axis that like Wizards would run on, and people have to make different deck choices because of it. Like, you know, I was fortunate enough; I have my whole deck in paper, but that took, you know, years and years of collecting and trading and finding everything that I needed and making, you know, decisions with these cards, and like picking up side versions of cards in the hopes that I could flip them into the versions that I want. Things like that. Totally. I mean, that's a totally different video we could do, but it's not accessible outside of that. But you know, there's proxy sites, there's things like that where you can find a deck for $25-$50. You know, and that's the whole 100-card deck that would cost you $5,000,
if not more,
actual Magic cards, right? Like, and that's like cheapest versions available, and you're still at like $5-6 grand. And like there has to be. I think that the ideal way to do it would be to have all these independent tournament organizers under this umbrella, so that you had the chance to win real cards, which let you then compete in the other events that you know, like there has to be a way for players to obtain these cards, so that they can then use them and go play in the bigger premier events. Now that you don't have to do that. Like Steel City was a 20K and it had like 514 players, and it was a full proxy event. You could play proxies if you want.
Yeah, and Commander as a whole has always been very proxy friendly. I myself am pro proxy because like I can't afford all the cards I used to have before I sold my collection, right? Like,
and you know, unless you have a super dialed in and focused collection, then you're not going to have all the staples. That's the way it is. And if you're going to play multiple decks and you like things that are staples, then you're going to want them in multiple decks. So you proxy them, whatever, it's fine. Like, coming from the competitive background, you know, we would always play test decks with we would write on the back of cards all the time, because it was easiest to get the idea of the deck and to get the flow. And
funny you should mention that I found a Mystic Remora in my box of cards that had it had Island written on it in pencil. I'm gonna blame Dewey for that one.
My favorite one I heard of was an intuition with Basic Island written on the back of it.
Ooh, ooh, that's
Shout
that's
out
rough.
Carl.
Oh man, yeah. But CDH seems like it's uh gonna be a growing format. Like I keep seeing more and more people talk about it. I've seen more and more content creators, much larger than we are, talk about it. Like I would have never imagined. Like yeah, they're not used to it, but I would have never imagined like one of the weekly Commander games that the MTG Goldfish guys played, at least attempting CEDH decks, right? Like that puts a light on it. I've
Yep.
seen the prof talk about it. And so like it's
Yep.
becoming more mainstream, which is good because I think the more mainstream
Right.
it gets, the better and more healthy the format's going to be.
100%. The more eyes on it, the more people you have playing on it, the better, the more contribution you have to it, the better it becomes.
Yep.
And I think, yeah, like, again, tying back to what I was saying about the optics of playing the game or playing the format and watching the format from the outside, I akin it to a lot like making noodles versus watching noodles being made.
Oh, yeah.
So, like, if you're someone, you're just like, you're watching someone make noodles, you're like, wow, that looks crazy. Wow, oh my gosh, that looks insane. Like, I don't know if I could do that. I can probably do that. That looks pretty easy. All it is just like some flour and some eggs,
Yep.
and then you just mix it up, right? But then you actually start doing it, and you have to be exact with your measurements, and you have to be delicate, and you have to be firm at the same time with the kneading of the dough, and you have
Yep.
to be patient with the rest, and you have to understand all these things. And that's what the format is to me is such a draw, is because there's so much to it. Like there's the gameplay element, which, coming from that competitive background,
Mm-hmm.
we know stack interaction, we
Oh, yeah.
know how all of that works, the weird abilities, the weird things that happen in the game of Magic.
You and I had to play test against Humility, well, probably hundreds of games thanks to Dewey, so we are well versed in the layering and stacks of
So and so like it takes that to the next level, because now, so in CEDH, like, instead of me just casting my Force of Will on a spell and going down a card, and my one opponent going down a card, but my two other players effectively went up a card because they didn't have to use any resources. So you're playing, you're right, you have to think about it in a different level
yeah.
because you're playing a four-player game.
Yep.
So if your interaction is so precious, right?
Yep.
So if I can just show you that Force of Will and be like, hey, don't do that. I'm gonna counter it if you cast it, and you don't cast it. I've effectively countered your spell without
While
countering
saving
your
your own
spell.
resources. Yep.
Exactly.
In essence, kind of like a bluff, right? Like
100%. But it just takes that whole concept to the next level.
yep.
And that's what the other part of CEDH that's so appealing to me is, like, you can play like that too. You could also just play very much straight into what you're going to do. You can let the politics not influence you.
Mm-hmm.
People say it is within your rights as a tournament player to be like, could you please stop talking? I'm going to take my game actions so that you can do what you want to do.
Yeah.
And no more influence can happen. Like, it's not just all yap, yap, yap.
Oh, yeah.
That's another misconception that I would like to chop off right there, is that it's not all yapping. It's just using your words as a game action. And when you understand that you can use your words as a game action, changes everything.
Oh, yeah. And you can say a whole lot without using a lot of words. Like, I had a political background. I watched bosses and politicians do that a lot, where they said a lot without saying a lot, right? You got to be careful with your words. And yeah, like, this is just like a mini game of politics, right? If you talk too much, if you use too many words, you're going to say something that might reveal too much information, might put you at a disadvantage, or might just get you hated on by everybody at the table because you just don't shut up.
Exactly. And that's the thing, is like, again, that's a whole nother level to this game, where you're playing with that hidden information, and how well you protect and reveal that hidden information is everything.
Yep. It certainly seems interesting. I I'm interested in the format. I kind of want to build something around it. I just haven't decided what kind of deck I want to build in it yet. But
I think that you would really like Zuladoc actually got second place at a tournament not too long ago. So maybe you might be interested in doing Zuladoc things.
I do love my Eldrazi so much.
Well, because with the new Warp Eldrazi, that you just pay 3 and warp it in, you get double Cascade Trigger off of a 7-drop for 3 mana, which is pretty cool.
Oh yeah. And so
I don't know.
That's a lot of tech that you know about that a lot of the regular casual folks who might be interested don't know about. So like that is a great way to kind of segue into like, so since you're joining the channel, you're doing CDH stuff, what sort of content do you really like? What can folks expect from you?
So, at first it might take me a little bit to get going, but I want to do a series where we go through the intricacies of, so like you just cast your ad nauseum, and now what? Because a lot of videos, a lot of times you'll see that people will say, well, I just cast Nas and then I put my win on the stack.
Well, yeah, what does that mean? Yeah. Like, you have to be able to be prepared to go through each step in case somebody's like, show me. Because we remember from our tournament days, you have to be able to demonstrate the combo and able to get the win. So if somebody calls your bluff and you don't know, that's an L right there.
And sometimes when you're going through, and sometimes with Underworld Breach, exiling 3 cards out of your graveyard as an additional cost to escape it out of your graveyard. Sometimes your math is off. Sometimes you don't have enough cards in your yard. Sometimes you got to find a way to get more in your yard so that you can recast stuff so you can keep going. Like, it takes some practice. And so I think that one of my ideas is how to resolve after you've resolved your ad nauseum, where to stop, what to do after you stop, things like that. Necropotence is another card that a lot of decks are running and that I see, maybe people need to learn how to put lines together out of Necropotence. So like I was going to do some of that. And then eventually I'm going to join the Critical EDH League, record my games in there, and then maybe go back through and recap them if you want to join me.
Yeah, do like a play-by-play sort of thing, breaking
watch party, recap who won, I'll post my wins and my losses, it doesn't really matter because we can learn from everything, right?
Oh yeah, and the more eyes you have on your gameplay, the more you're going to be able to learn and things like that, right? Like between the two of us and some of our other friends, like we've got plenty of eyes and plenty of competitive Magic experience that we can do that for sure.
And, I think that seeing some of those mistakes being made, learning from those mistakes and then consciously practicing and putting forth new techniques that I'm learning, it's good for other people to see.
Oh, yeah.
It's player growth, and I still have a long ways to go in this format too. I'm by no means a pro at any of this.
Oh yeah, like I don't know how many times in my videos where I'm just like, yeah, I've been playing this game for like 24 years at this point, and I'm like, I'm still bad at Magic.
Right. It's like, it's funny because I was thinking, some of the other games I played, I'm like, man, it took me like 6 years to get good at this game. Well,
yeah,
same. I've been playing this game since Onslaught Block, and that's probably like 2003, 2004.
I think
I don't know, when did Onslaught come out?
Let me look it up here. Onslaught.
1998.
Oh yeah. So a while ago.
Yeah.
Man, we're old.
No, that was Exodus. 2002 Onslaught came out.
Oh, so the year, right the year after I started playing, because it was the end of. I played in Judgment, which I think was the last of the Odyssey block, and then it was Onslaught. Yep. Man. Oh, it's hard to think about that when I think that like Mirrodin was like, 5 years ago. But it wasn't.
I do think like CDH, if you're an old head legacy player like we are, if you miss that competitive itch, but you want to find a way to get back into it, CEDH is the way to go. It scratches that itch. The stack interaction, the level of intricacy is that it's I akin it to like mini vintage, right?
Oh yeah.
Vintage decks are essentially singleton decks, made outside of maybe like 20 cards, right? Because you're playing just all of the power. You have the same amount of variance in a vintage deck.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously not, but you have more like
you're playing a bunch of one-ups and
right in a vintage deck as you do an EDH deck. You just have more cards in an EDH deck.
Yep.
Yeah. So it's essentially it's vintage light because your turns of action are, decks are designed to win on turn 3.
Yeah. That's
fast. That's like modern fast.
Oh yeah, I mean like legacy fast. I think modern has some, and I think even the like standard VV Cauldron decks, like the game as a whole has sped up a lot from like even when we started playing, right? Like Zoo used to be like a pretty top tier legacy deck, and that was usually like a turn 4-5 kill, and now it's like, turn 3.
You're just not good enough.
Yeah.
Not good enough if you're not killing by turn 3. Like that's just the way it is. But that's a whole nother video too.
Yeah, see, and the sky's the limit. You have free reign to do whatever you want for CDH, and for the CDH folks watching this, like Mitch has been trying very hard to sell it to our friend group, and like we've played a little bit of it, and then I've recently reconnected with some of our friends that we had lost contact with, and you got to play a little bit of CDH, and it sounds like they might be interested in doing it.
Yep,
which is good.
We have a little bit more people gaining interest that would like to start a local scene around here.
Oh yeah.
A pipe dream would be to get a tournament going in the area, but we'll see what happens.
Oh yeah. Well, I thank you, Mitch. I look forward to seeing your content. Lord knows I'm going to watch through all of them because I need to learn more about CDH. I have actually been watching more CDH channels, like the Play to Win guys. I've been watching to try to learn more about it because I don't feel that I can speak on a format unless I stay informed. Like, I hadn't played Standard in forever, but I keep up on Standard because I want to be able to speak on those formats and be knowledgeable. So, yeah, looking forward to it, man.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it, too. I'm excited to get going.
And do you have any last things that you want to tell the folks before we head out?
Thank you, Weston, for the opportunity, and hope you guys enjoy what I have to offer.
Yeah. Thank you guys for stopping by the Hidden Gibbon. Again, this is Mitch. He's going to be here for our CDH content. Maybe someday, if we're lucky, we can get our friend who loves to play Legacy and beat his head against the wall against Reanimator until it got banned. So, thank you guys all very much. We're Weston and Mitch with the Hidden Gibbon, and we hope you all have a wonderful day.